in on a Saturday to be with us. I really appreciate it. It's great to be back here in Clovis. I want to tell you a little story. And this happened far away in that other world called San Francisco. But it happened last week, actually. I had finished a television interview in San Francisco, and I was walking across the street after the interview. And there was a DHL truck pulled up to the stop sign. And he watched me walk in front of him, and he leans out the cab, and he says, "Hey, anybody ever tell you you look like that candidate lady?" And I said, "Well, actually, I am that candidate lady." He said, "Oh." So I walked over, I shook his hand, and he said, "Let me tell you something. I'm a Teamster. I'm a Democrat. I'm voting for you." Or I can tell you about the lady I met at another Tea Party, this one in Pleasanton, California. And she came up to me after I had given a speech, and she took my hand in both of her hands, and she looked at me and she said, "I have never voted before, but I am voting for you because I am afraid for my children's future. Please don't forget us when you get to Washington, D.C." Or I can tell you about all the Democrats and the independents that have endorsed me. I could tell you about the California Farm Bureau, the Nisei Farmers League. But here's what I know. Having traveled up and down this great state, having been in and out of Fresno and Clovis many times on this campaign, here's what I know. Whether people call themselves Democrats, Independents, Decline to State, Republicans, or members of the great California Tea Party, we are all members of one party now. We had enough. Party. We have had enough. We have had enough of a government that is out of control. We have had enough of public servants whose salaries we pay, who go to Washington and forget who it is they represent and why we sent them there in the first place. And we have had enough of spending taxpayer money, $10,000 a sign of taxpayer money to put a sign up like this. And meanwhile, $800 billion later, the unemployment in this county, the unemployment in this state, the unemployment everywhere is worse today than it was in February of 2009 when that stimulus bill was passed. We have had enough of that. Because not only are we wasting taxpayer money, but we are destroying jobs in this state and in our nation without a controlled government. I can tell you the story of a man I met. He was an immigrant from Italy. And he had built a business in the Inland Empire of California. And he had passed that business down to his son and then his granddaughter. And the federal government came and confiscated 25 acres of his property because on his property was the breeding ground of an endangered fly. He could not produce on this property. He could not sell this property. But he had to pay taxes on this property. And he looked at me and he said, "I don't understand this country. This isn't the country I came to. My own government is taking away my livelihood." And I looked back at him and I said, "Sir, I don't understand this country anymore either." Now, I'm sorry, this fly had a big, long, fancy name, but it was still a fly. And whether it's fish or flies or frogs, we care very much about protecting our environment. And the farmers in this area are great stewards of their environment. But for heaven's sake, for public office before. But I believe that ours was intended to be a citizen government. I think that is what of, by, and for the people means. I think we have grown accustomed to career politicians who go to Washington, who stay way too long, and forget all about what they were sent there to do. And I also think that those career politicians like Barbara Boxer have become part of the problem, not part of the solution. Some people ask me, why are you doing this? Well, I could ask you the same question. Why are you doing this? Why are you here on a Saturday morning? Why are people like you all across this state and all across this nation standing forward, some of us for the first time, and saying we have to turn our nation around? I'll tell you why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I have lived the American dream. I moved to California when I was 7 years old. I went to Stanford University, and because my dad was a professor, my mother was a stay-at-home mom, they were trying to put 3 kids through college at the same time, and Stanford's a really expensive place to go to school. I had to work to help them make ends meet. So I went to work as a Kelly girl. Remember Kelly girls? Yeah. We need a Kelly Girls for Carly coalition. We have volunteers here. But no, we don't call them Kelly Girls anymore. It's politically incorrect. But Kelly Girls, as you know, were mostly women who went and were hired out as temporary office personnel. And one of the best jobs I had was when I was a freshman, I typed in the shipping department of Hewlett Packard. Now, I will date myself, but back then, the big technology breakthrough was the IBM selector typewriter. And it's quite devastating for me to realize that my 2 granddaughters have no idea what I'm talking about. In any event, I graduated from Stanford University with a degree in medieval history and philosophy. Why does everyone laugh when I say that? Well, you laugh because, all dressed up and nowhere to go. I was totally unemployable. So I go off to law school, UCLA Law School. And I hate it. And I quit after 1 semester. And now I have to go back to work full-time. And so I take the first job I was offered. And that job was to type and to file and to answer the phone for a little 9-person company. My husband started out as a tow truck driver for the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in a family-owned business. I got my start, and he got his start the way most Americans get their start, in a small business or a family-owned business.
Right.
I have traveled all over the world, and I know that it is only in the United States of America that a woman like me, starting as I did, could have the privilege to lead one of the largest companies in the world and have the honor to run for the U.S. Senate. That is only possible in the United States of America. And I am running because I am worried that my granddaughters won't have the same opportunities that we have. This country was founded on 2 radical ideas, and they are radical to this day. The first radical idea was that everyone has potential, that everyone has the opportunity, the right to fulfill their potential, that it doesn't matter who you are, or how you start, or where you come from, or what you look like. You have potential and you can fulfill it. That is what we call in shorthand the American dream, but people cannot live the American dream without opportunity and without the freedom to pursue opportunity. And I am running because we are making that American dream too hard for too many people. But the other radical idea was of, by, and for the people. That is a radical idea. And I will tell you what, thanks to your efforts here and efforts of people like you all up and down this state and all across this great nation, the pundits and the politicos are finding out, some of them for the first time in their long political lives, what of, by, and for the people really means.